Ireland. It was my first European country some 13 years ago, and it's since become the country I've visited most. What can I say? I love it here. The cities, the countryside, the history. Mischievous Oscar Wilde gets it. I'm back this time to celebrate the new year with my visiting in-laws, but I'm also at the peak of my training for the upcoming Oman Desert Marathon, which I've already ran by the time this video comes out. But the Joe you see frolicking around in Ireland is in focus mode, with a couple of weeks to go until setting off for Oman. I'm going to show off a couple long runs in this video, starting with this windy, muddy romp along the Wicklow Way in the Wicklow Mountains, starting from Glenmacnass Waterfall. I've long wanted to run around the Wicklow Mountains, eyeing races like the Eco Trail Wicklow for my calendar, but the timings just never worked out. So I'm thrilled to dive in here with an impromptu visit. I love the mountains around here, similar to the stuff you'll find out in Wales and Scotland. Windswept, occasionally boggy, and a kind of lush green that stands out like a traffic light. And with all that green, I take that as my sign to go. Like just about anything in Ireland, you can find stories of Irish resistance to English rule in these mountains. Irish clans turned the mountains into a hiding place and stronghold to resist English rule following the 12th century Norman invasion, and rebels hunkered down here during the 1798 rebellion against the British Crown. Today, the mountains are popular with day trippers and tourists like myself, but I'm not sure the feeling is mutual. It's windy up here, the windiest wind I've ever run through. I don't mean to anthropomorphize the place, but it felt like the winds of Wicklow were ready to scoop me up like King Kong and throw me clear off the side of the mountains like a derelict rag doll. We're pausing now here in the Wicklow Mountains at the first break from just the absurd wind. Would you say it's absurdos?
Yeah, I think it's the strongest wind I've ever run in.
It's the strongest wind I've run in as well. And it feels very strange to just be stopped where there's no wind. And now we're gonna go run back into it. It's very quiet. It's nice.
All right.
But we gotta keep going. Melanie and I push through and along the Wicklow Way until the trail descends into the forest, where the wind dies down and my face can recover from that hurricane of a million tiny slaps. Despite the aggravated assaults by wind, it was a pleasant introduction to the Wicklow Mountains. Hopefully I'll be back sooner rather than later to bounce around those scenic slopes, preferably in the summer though. Or fall, just any other damn time than December. It's the new year and we're setting off to Girona in a couple of days for one last week of intense training before I make my way to Oman. But first, one last Irish run in Cork. That is, if I can get out the door without Melanie stink-shaming my running clothes. You know, it's very offensive to the stink community to comment constantly on how much I stink. This does really stink.
Can't you wear something else?
I'm gonna go wrong. What's the difference?
Well, we can smell you.
Could you just pause for a second? So I was going to comment on how nice this is. The River Lee Hotel
Yes.
has this lovely little
You're not
jogging.
recording this.
Yes, I am.
Okay,
That's
sorry,
what the
start
flash.
over.
Are you the director now, Spielberg?
Yes.
So all I wanted to say was that the River Lee Cork Hotel has this lovely card in here with jogging routes. And it's very nice to see that what I inadvertently planned to do anyway is basically on here. Except if you can see here, there's like a little path south of the river. According to an app I use to plan my routes, you can't actually go along the river. I'm going to try to do that, but if that doesn't work, then I guess I'll go south on this thing, and then I'm going to run around this lake and head on back. Neat! My father-in-law Tim joins for the first couple of kilometers, excited to make his Insta360 debut. And I do my part to give him the full, epic, cinematic treatment. I hope it was everything he imagined it would be, and more. I continue onward with a little speed workout along the River Lee, and it's, in a word, wet. Out here on the Riverside Trail and a little bit of flooding. Luckily, I'm in Sonic the Hedgehog mode, so my feet dry off in no time. So this is actually my third time in Cork. I first came 12 years ago during my first trip to Europe, and then last time was probably about like 6 years ago. And I don't know what it is about so-called second cities, for lack of a better term, but I've always kind of preferred these kind of places, and by that measure, Cork is no exception to that rule. It's just such a lovely town. I mean, I love the little rows of buildings on the hillside that you can see the River Lee, and man, the River Lee is running over the past couple days. And it's Ireland, so of course it's pretty green out here, but you just get that nice mix of city life connected with the surrounding nature. And running around here this morning, I'm just reminded about what I really admired about Cork in the first place. I finished the run strong, but I'm ready to get some elevation under my legs in Spain. We'll see you there.